A new fitting series at McGolf. Stay tuned and let's talk about a little bit about fitting. Welcome back to the McGolf Fitting Studio. Jim McCleary, Ohio and Big Ten's most certified and awarded club maker club fitter. And we're starting off a new series. Actually, I started this a while back with what is a fitting? Look over here. Okay, maybe right up in here. And we talk about what a fitting should be. Okay, now it doesn't mean that it has to be cookie cutter, the same thing every time, but there's certain elements into a fitting in order for you to play your best golf, because that's the whole idea, right? So you get comfortable with your sticks in your bag and you get over that shot and you just know you're blowing it by your buddies. That's the reason why you get a fitting. Lower scores, more comfort, more confidence, because that's what it's all about, right? Confidence breeds better golf, because you take easier, better swings, means better contact, better flight, better results, lower scores, happier golfers. That's why we do fittings, okay? And that's what we talk about in the first one. Now, we're going to start breaking parts down. And in the very first one, we're going to talk about length of a golf club. And today, well, yesterday, I had Matt with me, and I made him a set of Washon clubs. And we'll see both those videos up there. And I asked him to help me out. So he took a bunch of swings with his new golf clubs and we did a gapping session. I wanted to talk about length. And so I asked him to kind of describe the process for us, and we'll kind of allude to that. All right. Question and answer time. So I guess number one is, now this goes way back. Now remember, Matt visited us earlier in the year. Yes. And came down, and so we'll start with that, the fitting process.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
The fitting process was unbelievable. I enjoyed the entire time. Now, my thought process on this whole endeavor was to get myself the best clubs that could fit for me. That was the goal. And I came down I think it was right after Easter.
Yep.
Did the fitting process, which took about a couple hours. It's well worth it. If anybody's thinking about doing something of that nature, go get the fitting done. Now, this process was something that I didn't understand what I was getting myself into, but I really enjoyed seeing the progressions.
Which brings us back to length. As you notice, that dude was pretty tall. And it's not just for tall guys. It's actually, length is very important for consistency. It is directly related to it, regardless of the weight, regardless of your lie angle, regardless of everything. It's consistency. Now, when I say that, do I mean that if I put the right club underneath you, regardless of weight and all those other things, that you're just going to hit it far better than you ever did before, straight down the middle? No. All right. That is the building block for which all your clubs will become better. Okay. Once you get that length underneath of you and that's correct, then that is the one parameter that you can ensure that is the same, right? Now, as we talked before in other what is length in a golf club, they also get measured differently. So each fitter is going to have a little different way of measuring that length, right? USGA says you put it in a jig, measure it at 60 degrees, that's your length. Well, what if your lie angle is 64? What if your lie angle is 59? What if your lie angle is 61? All right, that changes that length every once in a while. So there are guys like me that measure them in what's called the playing position, which is another thing that the USGA says. When you measure things in their playing position, they just assume the playing position is around 60 degrees. Okay, so there's a lot of, it's really hard to describe. There are places that just set the jig on there, cut it down, away you go. And there are guys that put them in a playing position, mark lines and get the length going, and that's how they get to going. But as long as they're consistent in their application, okay, right? And that's the reason why you're going to those particular people. Now, you're talking about being off little teeny bits. All right, this is not like I go to fitter A and he measures it in the 60 degree, and I go to fitter B and he does playing position measuring, and they're going to be off of an inch. That's not true. All right, a quarter inch maybe, all right, if it's extreme. So it's just a different way, but you want to make sure whoever does it, they do it consistently. Now, how do you find length? Well, you do length by, at least in my case, you have to have some way of being able to isolate all the other things other than length. So what I have here, and you see behind me, is a set of fitting irons, right? A set of fitting irons. Same head, same shaft, same grip, same flex, same grip, same everything, except for length. They're 1/2 inch lengths off. And what we do is we put in a piece of tape on the impact tape, and what I'm looking for is a consistent pattern on it. You know, we really want it to be in the middle, but if it's not, that's fine. But that would be our job to get you into the middle, because that's the best shot, which quality of strike is another important one. Now, we also compare that with the data that my flight scope gives me. All right, so the two should jive. Normally the one that's the most consistent is the one that actually goes the longest as well. So even in the beginning, you're starting to get better qualities of hit, better distances, better results, right? And that's what we do. Now in a driver, a little differently, that's the yellow ones back here. Those are just shafts. Okay, same shaft, same grip, same flex, same adapter, and I virtually screw them into the same head. Same can be done on another system, but that's what I'm doing here. And we go through the same exact process. Stickers on it, compare it to the flight scope, and make sure that we have the best length for the amount of consistency for you. Okay? And hopefully while all this has been going on, you've been seeing bits and pieces of flight scope data to show you that myth number one busting, that the longest club doesn't always go the longest, because the quality of strike can override that. And if you hit them the same, if you hit two the same, then you get to have the fun task of saying, well, which one did I hit better? Was it direction? Was it spin? Was it launch? Was it the way it came down? For you to work with the fitter in order to pick that length in order to get you into that best golf. When you go to your fitting and you want to be consistent, because everybody likes consistency, because consistency makes confidence, confidence makes better swings make lower scores. Try that. Okay? Ask them about that. Ask them how they test for length. Right? Do they just look at you and say, oh, I think that's what it is? Do they actually test and let you hit various lengths and see what's going on? Because you know, if you like the impact tape, fine. They say, well, it impacts the spin. Well, it does. It does impact the spin in some cases. There's been some research done on some particular kind of impact tapes that don't. Okay, but I'm not testing for the spin right now. I'm testing for the length. All right, and the weight doesn't matter. Oh, people are screaming all over the place. What do you mean the weight doesn't matter? I'm telling you, the weight don't matter. Because I'm testing for consistency. So if the weight makes you swing a little bit inside out, outside in, and you float to the other one side, so be it. Because I'm looking for the best length that draws consistency. I can always go back to that particular weight and then bring you back to the center. Do a lie angle test if that happens to be what it is. All these different things that are going on. So, length of the golf club, very paramount to better scores, right? And unless you're 6'5" in a driver, chances are 45.5 is going to be too much. Now, what are some of the things that impact length? Your height, your arm length, your stance, your swing path. All right, those are just some of the things the big things that impact your length. Obviously, if you're taller, maybe you need a taller club. Maybe your arms are shorter and you need a longer club. Maybe you bend over at a dress too much and it's too much. Maybe that means you need a shorter club. maybe you swing flatter than the average person. Like shorter people with standard clubs tend to swing flatter. You can use a longer club. Okay. The other goes true. Let's say your average height with longer arms might need something shorter. It could be that you go vertical when you swing and you come straight down. And if you guys are smacking the crap out of irons, but you're losing it in your driver, chances are your driver might be too long. All right. There's all these different issues that can go and cause different changes in length, whether it be longer, whether it be shorter. Okay. And the same thing can go in with irons. Okay. As though it's not massively as dramatic as it would be for a driver. And the reason why it looks so big in a driver is because you're hitting it so much further that mistake, if you're only going out 150 yards and it's going like this, it doesn't look so bad. But if you take that and you keep going out to 300 yards, now it looks pretty bad, right? So that's the reason why it looks so enlarged when you have that kind of stuff. So again, testing for length, that's really where you want to go first, okay? And hopefully I'm showing you a bunch of stuff that's around here from different fittings and stuff, and Matt's talked to you and that kind of stuff. So that's just length, right? This is going to be a fairly long series. And if you want to see, if you got a question on the different parameters of the golf club, right? More about length, more about weight, more about this, put it in the show notes. And I'm certain I can turn it into a topic that we can talk to you directly about, okay? Because I really want to get the fitting parameters out there, all right? Now, you're going to see a lot of these guys on TV that are, they swing 110 mile an hour and they hit the ball 300 yards and he's a good tour player. Yeah, great. All right. So how many of you are like that? All right. The average golfer doesn't swing like that. And we're here to make the average golfer, better golfer, beginning golfer, that, not just that perfect golfer that you got to use. Okay. So, put it down in the show notes. Ask me some questions. I'd like to get some content out there for you guys. And if you like this, like it. And subscribe and swing and hit that bell when she gets the subscribe button comes up. And as always, let's see your scores go low.